Today, we're diving into Dr. Melanie Greenberg's amazing book, The Stress-Proof Brain. We're going to get right into what's actually happening inside your head when you get that all-too-familiar feeling of being totally and completely overwhelmed.
I mean, you know the feeling, right? Your heart starts pounding, your thoughts are racing a mile a minute, and all because of, what? A looming deadline? A tough conversation? It just feels like your reaction is completely out of proportion to what's actually going on.
And look, the very first thing you need to know is that if you feel this way, you have to stop blaming yourself. You're not broken. You're not weak. Your brain is simply doing exactly what it was programmed to do.
What you're experiencing is actually a super powerful, ancient survival system that's been hardwired into your brain for literally thousands of years. The only problem? That system was designed for a very, very different world than the one we live in now.
And this right here, this is the core of the issue. It's this total mismatch between our ancient biology and our modern lives. Our internal alarm system is frankly brilliant, but it's also profoundly outdated. Just think about it. Our stress response evolved to help our ancestors escape immediate life or death situations. It was built to save you from a predator, not to help you navigate back-to-back Zoom meetings or a mountain of emails. But here's the crazy part. Your brain often reacts to both with the exact same level of panic.
The book just puts it so perfectly. This system, which was once absolutely essential for our physical survival, is now constantly getting triggered by psychological stuff it was never ever designed to handle.
So, if we want to understand how to manage this response, we first need to meet the team inside our brain that's running the whole show. Come on, let's take a quick tour of your internal security system.
First up is the amygdala. Just think of this as your brain's hyper-vigilant alarm system. It's constantly scanning for danger, and the second it senses a threat, whether it's real or just something it thinks is a threat, it yanks that fire alarm. Its whole motto is, act first, think later.
Okay, next we have the prefrontal cortex. This is like the CEO of your brain. It's the rational, logical part that's in charge of complex problem solving, impulse control, and, this is crucial, calming down the amygdala's panic attack. It's the part that steps in and says, whoa, 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 hang on, it's just an email, not a tiger.
And of course, no team is complete without its key supporters. The hippocampus is like the brain's own personal librarian, checking the archives to see if we've dealt with a threat like this before. Meanwhile, the hypothalamus is the operations manager. It gets the alarm call from the amygdala and gets ready to sound the body's physical alarms.
So what does this all look like in action? Well, it's a lightning-fast chemical chain reaction. First, the amygdala screams, "Threat!" Instantly, the hypothalamus signals your adrenal glands, and then boom! Those glands flood your body with hormones like cortisol, putting your entire system on high alert. Your heart pounds, your muscles tense, you're literally ready to either fight for your life or run for the hills.
Now, this system is incredibly effective for a short-term emergency. But what happens when that alarm bell just never stops ringing? What happens when stress isn't a visitor but becomes a permanent resident?
And this is the critical difference we have to understand: acute versus chronic stress. Acute stress, like getting ready for a big presentation, that can actually be good for you. It sharpens your focus, boosts your energy. But chronic stress, that relentless pressure from a bad job or a tough relationship, that causes serious wear and tear on your mind and body.
And that wear and tear, it's not just a saying. We're talking about really serious stuff. A weakened immune system, which means you get sick more often. High blood pressure, which strains your heart. Increased weight gain, especially around your stomach. It can even damage your brain cells and literally accelerate aging at the cellular level.
But here is a huge glimmer of hope. It turns out our perception of stress can make a real physical difference. There was this fascinating study that looked at telomeres. They're like the little protective caps on our DNA that get shorter as we age. And they found that in mothers of chronically ill kids, the ones who didn't perceive their lives as being super stressful didn't show the same telomere shortening. It's proof that our mindset has actual biological power.
Okay, so if perception is that powerful, then the first step has to be understanding what is actually stressing us out in the first place. The book breaks them down into 3 main categories.
First, you've got the big ones, major life events. These are the earthquakes in our lives. Losing a job, a divorce, the death of someone you love. They are massive shocks to our system that require a huge amount of energy to adapt to. Then you have chronic stressors. These are the long, slow, grinding pressures that often cause the most damage because they just never let up. Think of an unhappy marriage,
constant financial strain, or a job that just drains your soul.
And finally, and please do not underestimate these, we have the daily hassles. Individually, they're small, right? But it's that constant drip, drip, drip of traffic, bills, and minor frustrations that can build up and eventually cause a massive flood of chronic stress.
But there's one more layer to this whole thing. To really understand our own personal stress response, we have to look back into our past. Because our history can fundamentally change the wiring of our brain's alarm system.
I mean, have you ever wondered about this? Why can two people go through the exact same stressful event, and one person just sails through it while the other is completely derailed? Well, a huge part of the answer is hidden in their past experiences.
The science points to something called adverse childhood events, or ACEs for short. When a child goes through trauma, it can actually disrupt the development of their stress response system. What happens is the amygdala basically becomes supersensitized. It learns that the world is a dangerous place, and it sets that internal alarm to be extra sensitive for the rest of that person's life.
And this, right here, might be the most powerful and validating message in this whole discussion. If your reaction to stress feels totally overwhelming, if you just get flooded with emotion or feel frozen, it is not a personal failing. It could very well be the echo of past trauma, your brain doing exactly what it was programmed to do to help you survive. So, where do we even begin with all this? It all comes back to this one incredibly powerful idea. Just by understanding this mismatch, by meeting your brain's internal team, by identifying your own personal stressors, you're taking the crucial first step. You are naming it. And as the book reminds us, once you can name it, you can begin to tame it. You start to get power back from that ancient alarm, instead of just letting it have power over you.